Calmsden Farm. Well, here we are again. I've had a few issues with mods. I've had a few issues with things that happened on the map, such as me cutting trees and then can't get rid of them. I did try. I tried to, make them into cheap amount, if that makes sense. That's a good lingo, you know. So I did get all the forestry equipment. I'll show you, like this $600,000 machine that's supposed to, you put timber in and turns it into wood chips. It didn't work. It was an absolute nightmare to use. Actually, I downloaded this today. I wanted to see if it still has that. No, it looks like it doesn't, so that's a good thing. That claw forestry, yes. Engine is okay. So you start with 600 horsepower and you pay $38,000 to go to 517 horsepower. That's really good. Never heard of that before. You pay to get less, but that's okay. So I couldn't turn those trees into wood chips at all. So in the end, and for anyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about, what I try to do is clean up in between that forestry area, and I'll show you on this. It's probably a little bit easier. If you don't know, or if you do know, in between here, there's actually all of this forestry area. There's not really a forest like it shows here. Just a few trees on the border, and each here and there a few trees in the middle, probably 2 or 3. Try to clean the area in between here. Cut all those trees down. The idea was that if I could do that, and we can extend not our field, because I don't care having bigger field, extend our animals on this side. So I have cows and all of stuff on this side, because we would have access from the fields over here to the cows. But silly me, I didn't just go and cut one tree down. You know, you go and cut one tree down and you try things out. I went and cut a humongous amount of trees down, and then we tried to do it that way. Let's put super strength on. Is this what? Is this the hay? It's the hay. I don't want the hay. I want this one. So that was a silly thing that I did. And because of that, it became, oh yes, I know I'm gonna do that. And because of what I did is, there was 2 options. Just leave with it. And to me, that was no option, to be honest. Even if it's somewhere where it's on the map where I don't know, I don't ever go there. If I know that it's there, it bugs me. It's always on my mind. So it kind of then takes away from the joys of playing the game. So because of that, there was no option for me to, okay, let's auto-load nothing. What do you mean nothing? Unload pallets, why? Whoa. Okay. Okay. Oh, just remember, you can't auto-load these because they're not compatible. Let's get back in and pull this truck out of here. Yeah, so because of that, what I did is I simply took a bit of time off, from recording, that is. Reset up the whole map in a way that, better slow you down. Reset up the whole map the way I like it, the way it was. Did a little bit of extra work because it's kind of, this map has kind of been out for a little while and my progress is kind of non-existent. And I realized that by now a lot of new maps are coming out and I don't want to be still, So I played a bit, made a bit more money, upgraded, get rid of you. Upgraded some of our equipment. Now, I didn't make enough money to upgrade all the equipment that I got, all new equipment type of thing. But enough. keeping in mind that I had a humongous amount of like 200,000 when last I recorded this. I had 200,000 liters of barley and so on in stock. Plus we had planted, trying to remember what we actually planted, and for the life of me I can't remember right now, but we planted something. Was it soybeans? Or something like that anyway. We had everything planted on the fields that we had. We had a humongous amount of bales. Plus, like I said, the extra time that I played the map, just to get myself a little bit ahead. So that way we're not struggling with the same thing over and over again. Okay, so that's where we are at the moment. The idea is we're back, but we're back like, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons ahead. Now, I haven't added back the crop that we had. I simply added the animals that we had back in, and that is as far as we got. Now I'm gonna go this way because these trucks are very good. Now I came very close, believe it or not, to just say, you know what, just forget it, start a new map. But I didn't want to, because I actually do like this map. So I didn't want to just give up on the map because of my silliness. And it was me. I did something wrong as far as cutting trees and all that sort of nonsense, and then it didn't work out as well as I wanted it to work out as well as. Does that make sense? Sounds a bit like double Dutch, but I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, enough for the excuses. Now let's get ourselves into a position of feeding the sheep. Now I did have, as for anyone that saw the videos, I did have, okay, honestly expected that it would take a lot more than that. So we'll just place you over here for now. I did have a lot of grass, I did have a lot of hay, I did have a lot of silage bales, which I had like made with that sausage wrapper. So there was a lot of things that we did lose. Oops. But that's okay. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. You know what? Do I have a tiny shed? I can put a small shed here. Sheds. Do I have anything small, like a single? That's probably not bad. Let's see, do I have anything else? No. Oh, I got that 89,000. Are you kidding me? Just want to see how... Okay. Keep a little bit of realism. I mean, let's face it, if you had... Did I put a crooked down? No. If you had food in bags, you wouldn't really be keeping them. You wouldn't really be keeping them just outside in the rain. Yeah, so that's where we are. So this episode, we're kind of, I'm bringing up to speed. I'll show you the equipment in a minute. And I went away from John Deere. I added a few more tractors to our collection. I may not end up keeping all of them, or I may. I haven't really made up that decision, to be honest. But it is there as an option. Idea is exactly what I said. I wanted it to be for us to be a little bit ahead. Now I could have bought a lot of fields and all that sort of stuff, but that wasn't the point. The point of this game is always the machinery and the mods and everything that comes with them. It's not really the, having all the fields. Now this map was always going to be, like I said from the beginning, about animals. So it wasn't really to concentrate too much on the crops side of things, even though with animals you do need the crops. Now I'm going to run and take this to the horses. Well, we know that happens. Oops. How about you stop? Oh, come on. I know what happens is if you... Beautiful. Now, we have 4 horses this time. Are they? I was going to say, we do have 4 horses. Where are they? So, we got two black horses. I love black horses. And those ones, I don't know, they just look good. So, we have our chickens, which we have not as yet fed. So, there we are. And we got our sheep. Now, let me show you the equipment real quick. We have this. We had a smaller Fendt. I added a Massey Ferguson, the JCB and a rock picker, and the Dutzwa and a rock picker. I'm trialing these 2 rock pickers out. We'll see which ones we end up with. We have the grass cutter, which we always had, and the truck, which we always had, and an American truck. I realized, yeah, an American truck. And obviously the truck that you did see. And the combine, which is a smaller version of the combine that we had originally. And that's it. Okay, so while I was too busy setting up, this field withered, so didn't get a chance to get the crop. Like all the fields that we own withered. Now I'm using a new plow. It's a modded plow, not the most realistic of the plows, that's for sure. Actually, does it even look like a plow? Let's have a look. It was a mod that came out, and to be honest, I was fairly curious to see what it's like. So this is why I got this over other plows that we had. And as you can see, while I was doing all the setup, I did drive through this field at least once. So we are going to plow all our fields, collect the rocks obviously, and then get ourselves ready to plant. And where we are at the moment, we can only plant barley or wheat. So we're gonna rush into that and do that. Now I know what you're thinking. Why? Well, you're probably thinking that. Why do that? Why start again? Why not just leave it alone and start exactly how it was? Well, we had 3 tractors on the farm. Yeah, we had. I'm trying to think. We had 2 large one medium. So we have now. What do we have? So we have 1 medium and 3 large ones. Now this is the mod that came out, and it was just more out of curiosity. I just wanted to see what it's like. We did do this again, and we did buy, like we had a previous field number 8. I'm kind of debating what I'm going to do with field number 8, but I'm most likely what I'm going to end up doing is if we get any production whatsoever, I'm going to keep extending raising it up and extending it that way, so you can fit all our production on that field. So all our production that we're going to get into is going to be on that field. One thing about this map is that the rocks are really tiny. No, not that I need more rocks. I've got plenty of rocks off the fields just ahead of us. But if you're gonna have rocks, they're really tiny. So we're hopefully back to roughly where we were, minus a lot of grass, minus a lot of silage, minus a lot of hay. So we are going to, obviously I'm going to do off camera for the first time, which I've already done, cut that big field that the local government has given us to look after. So that's been cut once, and it's just sitting there waiting for us to go and collect it. Now, as I was going through my vehicles, you probably saw at the shop, I did have the, what do they call, the hay wagon, or with a windrow on it, ready to collect. And since we have our dryers and everything right there, that's exactly what we're going to do. Is bring them in and collect them all, and then fill those things up and let them do their thing. Now, all of those have the capacity to distribute. I don't know where they actually distribute it to, so I am going to try it out once I fill them in and see if they actually distribute straight to the animals. So I'm just going to sort of let all the feed that I put at the animals run out to zero, set them on distributing, and see if they actually do distribute straight to the animals. I'm not sure where they would distribute otherwise, and what would be the point of saying that it distributes. No other production that I'm aware of takes hay and silage and so on. Unless your silage is distributed to the TMR mixer, in which case, yeah, okay, that makes sense. See, this is the beauty with this plow. I realize it's not real. But the beauty of it is that even a half decent field, like this is a decent sized field, you can do it fairly quick. And yeah, but I am aware that I may get some people saying, yeah, well, that's not realistic, it's fake and so on, which is true. To be honest, the thing that I like about this mod is not the plow and all that sort of stuff, because I do have a plow that's about 12 meters, I believe. I like the fact that he did a mulcher, the same size mulcher, so that's something that I do like. So it is the reason that I downloaded this mod was mainly for the mulcher, not for the plow. Even though, again, I don't really mind the plow. Like, to me, I don't find it. I don't find it off-putting if I see YouTubers that use some unrealistic mods. And when I say unrealistic mods, I'm referring more to things like plow, cultivators, and so on. I'm not into the idea of. I've noticed that there is a script out there that increases the production of all your fabrication 10 times. Now, I'm not into that, because to me, if you're gonna do that, you can just add the money in. And I mean, with power tools now available, it's been available for a long time. I can add $10 million in 5 seconds, and it kind of. But I can see some people saying, yeah, but this way I'm not really cheating. I'm putting the product in. Well, you know what I mean. People could justify saying, no, we actually are taking the grain to the right production and the meal to the right production side. It's just that it increases the capacity, the productivity, the output. And let's face it, these days in reality, that's how it is, isn't it? You take 1 liter of milk with to the processors, and with all the things that they add to it, you probably get 3 or 4 liters of milk out of it. I know here in Australia, people have been using glues to stick cheap cuts of meat together and make them look like they're, the really expensive cuts of meat, and they got caught out. And fillers, I heard in certain places around the world, I won't mention any names, that they're using some sort of plastic mixed with rice and so on. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But I suppose, you could argue that in real life these days, you no longer just drink the milk from the cow like I used to when I was a little kid back where I came from. It's I suppose a way of life where 100 kilos of meat becomes 150 kilos of meat, or whatever, with all the things that they mix into them. But we won't let that creep into Farming Simulator, at least not yet. Alright, and that easy, the field is almost done. Honestly, I thought I would miss that a little bit, that's why I slowed down. So what maps are you playing? I've noticed that there's a few American maps out. Now, once we get settled in, and I may do instead of Hood Baileron, I may end up doing an American map. I'm kind of debating whether I should just swap over, even though I still enjoy playing Hood Baileron. But I've noticed that people are kind of moving on, and I noticed that views are starting to, even on my tiny channel, you get to see that people are not wanting to see Hood Baileron anymore. So what I'm trying to figure out at the moment is whether I move away from Hood Baileron and go into, I don't know, pick an American map, since we already have an English or European map, which is this one. Or actually no, the third map thing doesn't work. I'm not gonna bother with that. It just doesn't work. I just don't have the time to be able to do a third map, and realistically it wouldn't suit even if I wanted to do a third map. I believe that I didn't plow this all the way from what I saw, which is really strange, because is it about here that it didn't plow, which is really not so good, because I did pick up the rocks of the whole field. Lovely. I'm 100% sure that I plowed this entire field. And yet here we are today replowing it. And I'm gonna have to get the rock collectors to come back here and pick up all the rocks. Okay, now this guy is going to go straight there and collect. I wish someone, they did have a rock collector that had a 10 meter 10 meter width pickup. I had it, but then it started to have some issues, so I got rid of it because of the issues. I wish somebody would sort of fix that one, that knows how to fix them, obviously. Okay, let's see what happens. Is he gonna go the right way if I let him do this? I realized that you're gonna say, oh, but it's not realistic and so on. But let's face it, in real life, I've never seen anyone, and I watch quite a few farmers on YouTube, get to a point where they're doing this to the whole field. I don't know. I think it needs to be toned down a little bit by giants as far as the rocks are concerned, and increase the size. That's in my opinion. You need to sort of, in my opinion, increase the size of the rocks. Like, reduce the rocks by about 80% of what's happening at the moment, and increase the size of the rocks. Make the rocks at least 10-15 times bigger. I just want to make sure he's turning the right way. He's not turning the right way. Why on earth would you be going where there is no rocks to collect?
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be. great outdoors, forever free.
Okay, this is the feed for the chickens. We got this off field number 12. I'm not sure what happened, but I got 50, almost 60,000 liters of sorghum off that field number 23. That to me sounds very unrealistic. I don't know. Has the oh look, the horses want to come out. Get out of the way. Get out of the way, mate. Come on, come on. I don't know. Does that sound? Did something happen that they increased the yield or what? Now I was on easy. I changed it to normal. I have no idea if I can actually feed the chickens from this side. I believe I can from the other. Yep. Now I realize that this is very expensive feed for the chickens, but we got no option. No other option. Okay. So we're gonna get ready for planting. I've got one field that is already to go. I'm not sure. Have you seen this trailer? Have I shown you this trailer? This is an awesome looking trailer. Oops. Oh. Pressing the wrong button on the keyboard. So it's a mod that comes out. It's decent size, so you know, you're not going to struggle for. This is 60,000 liters. I think the next big one is up to 120,000 liters, and so on and so on. Oh, you know what? Why don't I go and put this in where it belongs, in the sideline? Why don't I do the right thing and actually drive properly? What's that guy doing? Walking up and down his driveway. Let's have a look. See, turning around and coming back. He looks very angry, doesn't he? He looks like he's ready to bash someone up. Okay, he's going home. Sitting in his house for a little bit, then coming back out, I assume. Now, one thing that I did not try to see if this trailer would actually fit. And it should be no reason why it wouldn't fit in our silo. But I've never ever tried to get into our silo from this. I've always went from this other direction, eh? So it's going to be very interesting. No, easy, easy. And the fact that it's a push, not a telescopic, it's even easier.